impact and reach in case of fake news, it's difficult to measure in terms of numbers because we have platforms such as Facebook and WhatsApp. WhatsApp especially, there are no analytics whatsoever. Once a message goes on WhatsApp, you don't know how many people it has reached, and WhatsApp as a company doesn't release any such numbers. In case of Facebook as well, what has happened is that there are so many number of Facebook pages that are created for the purpose of fake news propaganda that it's not possible to sort of keep track of all these pages, which is why again, there are no analytics as far as what is the impact in terms of social media. But impact can be seen in terms of effect. For example, recently in Jharkhand, we saw that 7 people were lynched purely based on a WhatsApp rumor. Now, the people who killed these people, they are not murderers, They got into a situation of fear psychosis because they got a WhatsApp rumor which said that, their children are being abducted, and they reacted accordingly. That is because they believe anything that comes in their WhatsApp inbox. These are first-time internet users. They don't know, what sort of a monstrous creature internet is. Then we saw in West Bengal that a morphed image of Kaaba Sharif led to riots. Now, such morphed images keep coming on social media. If only people knew that this is a common thing, they would not have felt so offended that they take to streets and it becomes a riotous situation, And after that, there were further fake images which fueled the riots. For example, a scene from a Bihari movie, which is a pro-woman movie, there was a scene of a woman being molested, and that was circulated claiming that it is a woman being molested in Bengal. Then again in 2014, an image of a morphed Hindu god was circulated, which led to the killing of a techie in Pune, and who had nothing to do with either with the creation of the image or the circulation of image. So we see that this phenomenon of fake news, fake images, fake videos, it is now leading to people getting killed, people getting murdered. So it is a situation which is grave enough that multiple authorities now need to stand up and recognize the situation of what the fake news, the situation that it has created. At least at Facebook level, we know the statistics. If we look at the pages, etc., you see that Facebook is a youth platform. If you look at the statistics, almost 70% of the people who are on Facebook are below the age of 30. These are statistics that are readily available for every Facebook page. So at Facebook level, the creation and consumption of fake news is majorly in youth. But once it gets to WhatsApp, then you don't know, because even feature phones these days have WhatsApp. 2,000 rupees phones have WhatsApps, and they are there in rural areas. And there's been a huge explosion of mobile data from about 200 million Gbps per month in mid-2016 to 1.3 billion Gbps per month in March 2017. So there are a lot of first-time internet users across the country, which includes elderly people. So right now, and they are the ones who are more susceptible to fake news, because they are, the youth gets to use internet on a much more regular basis as compared to the elderly people. So the fake news phenomenon is definitely, shifting from purely being a youth phenomenon even to elderly people. Let's start with WhatsApp, which is the biggest circulation distributor of fake news at this point in time. So what happens in WhatsApp is that, let's say there are 3 people, A, B and C. If a message is sent from A to B and if that identical message is sent from B to C, since WhatsApp has end-to-end encryption, which means that every 2 people share a unique set of encryption keys, when a message goes from A to B and if the identical message goes from B to C, they look different on the line. So as a platform, WhatsApp cannot track a video which goes from A to B and B to C. So that is a huge problem. Once encryption, we want encryption, we want the privacy. For example, if I'm making a call on WhatsApp, I know that it is secure. But it also poses a challenge for these platforms as to how do they tackle the issue of fake news, because they are not able to track it. Facebook, on the other hand, is in a better position because Facebook has a central encryption key. It runs on HTTPS. It has a central encryption certificate, etc. So Facebook can actually read your data, and we see that because we see targeted advertisements where you're looking up a post and there's an advertisement which is related to that post. So Facebook is actually reading your data. So Facebook can, let's say if a fake video goes viral, and typically what you see is that when a fake video goes viral, the text of the video, it gets circulated without even a comma or full stop change. So Facebook as a platform can easily track these fake news, and once it has been reported as fake news, it should be able to take action. But unfortunately, Facebook hasn't done anything to that effect, at least in India. And Twitter is again like Facebook, where you can read data. So Facebook and Twitter are in much better position to tackle fake news than WhatsApp at this point in time. AltNews as a platform has not approached Facebook or Twitter, but recently AltNews was invited to a conference in Singapore. It was a Google News Lab conference where their first priority, they had 4 focus areas, where the first focus area was trust and verification, which is essentially the issue of fake news. So Google is taking the fake news issue in a very serious manner, and in the Google news.google.com, the US version, they already have a widget which is dedicated to fact-checking websites. There are multiple US fact-checking websites like politifact.com, snopes.com, and so on. And they put out, let's say somebody makes a political statement, a political claim that, such and such thing has been achieved, and they go ahead and fact check that, and they put out articles. So now Google algorithm recognizes these fact checks because these websites use a prescribed format for fact checks. So when Google puts out a Trump statement, let's say if he claims something, and if PolitiFact has fact checked it, then right below that they'll put out an article of PolitiFact saying that here is what PolitiFact has to say about this Trump statement. So Google is definitely taking the fake news issue in a much more serious manner than the other platforms. Yeah, it is true that a layman, Aam Aadmi, they are working all day. They come home and they have this limited time for entertainment, where they watch news, watch TV programs, check WhatsApp, and then in comes a fake video. Now a normal person doesn't have the time, effort, or sometimes even the capability to figure out what is fake and what is not. So to leave this, fake news has become such a huge issue that to leave it in the hands of an Aam Aadmi is not viable anymore. Institutions have to come into picture so that we don't lead to a riot situation. For example, recently after India-Pakistan match where India lost in Champions Trophy, multiple fake videos were circulated claiming that Indian Muslims celebrated Pakistan's win. All those videos were fake except for one video which was from Kashmir. Now we already know Kashmir is a different situation. There is a conflict going on there, and it is not comparable to other states, but all the other fake videos that were circulated were fake, and AltNews put out an article regarding the same. Now what happened was Vadodara police had put out an advisory in Gujarati stating that one of the videos was a fake video, and it was from December 2016, Eid-e-Milad, some celebration where 2 boys were celebrating, and they had an Islamic flag in hand, and they were doing some bike stunts, etc., and that was being circulated claiming that Indian Muslims are celebrating Pakistan's win. So Vadodara police put out that advisory, but unfortunately it was in Gujarati. It never reached the national level, while fake news is a national phenomenon. So what we need is something to be done at the national level from the law enforcement agencies. Just like we have a weather advisory, that there is a cyclone coming, we also need advisory in terms of fake news, that there's this fake video being circulated, do not distribute it further. And just like weather advisories are consumed by media organizations, and they telecast on their TV channels or in the print media that such and such cyclone is coming, media organizations should also take up these fake video advisories independently or dependent on the law enforcement agencies, and tell the people that such and such fake news is being circulated and it is not true. So at the end of the day, what we need is more internet literacy. People fall for fake news because they don't look at things that come into their WhatsApp inbox with a critical eye. They believe whatever comes. But if they are told repeatedly that what this is what you saw yesterday and this was fake, this is what you saw yesterday and this was fake, once that cycle keeps repeating, then they will be more circumspect about what comes in their WhatsApp inbox, and they will think twice before forwarding that to their friends and relatives. At this point of time, in general, neither the union government or any of the state governments have acknowledged the effect of fake news. Even in the case of Jharkhand, even after 7 people were being lynched, nobody brought up the core issue that people were lynched because of a rumor. So they're not even ready to put that on the board that this is the issue. So that is the problem at this point in time. Except for West Bengal government recently, during the riots, they arrested some people who circulated fake images. They arrested a BJP IT cell coordinator who had circulated a fake video. So that's the only state which is starting to take action, legal action against people who might have circulated fake news / images / videos. But in general, governments have not taken cognizance of this huge issue of fake news. Right now there are 2-3 websites: AltNews, Boom Live, SM Hoaxlayer. Now 3 websites can only do so much. When a video is viral, essentially what you want is that, let's say a fake video is viral, you want it to stop being viral, if not in 24 hours. Typically if things go viral, they are viral for 72 hours, 4 or 5 days. You want it to stop being viral in 24 hours or less than 24 hours to reduce the impact. So what you need is more people, more platforms coming up and talking about the issue of fake news, putting out information saying that what you're seeing, this is fake, this is real. And obviously look at people should also look at all these platforms: Boom Live, AltNews, SM Hoaxlayer, and try and share it as much as they can. When they know that there is a fake news issue which has come up, any material that they get, it needs maximum circulation.